are quite simple. Sitting above all that is the decision making. Coaches need to challenge players to make the decisions. Sometimes, and there's no harm in it, and we do this with young players and even senior players. So you've got your cones, and you have your players. Accuracy of passing, so you might play the ball there and then you run. This person plays the ball there, you run. So, warming up practices. No problems with that one. But the principles, the decision making, if you set up that, the coach has already made the decision because you know where the ball is going to go. And sometimes passing practices for really young people, that's fine. You have to help them with the decision making. So if we take away the decision making, the first thing is accuracy. If I want to pass the ball there, it can't go inside the cone, it can't go too wide. The accuracy of the pass. As you get older, you then start saying, well, which foot do you want to pass the ball to? Because if I'm being marked, say if that bottle is the defender, if I'm being marked there, then you need to pass the ball to my left foot. If the defender's marking me there, you need to pass the ball with the right foot. But in the early stages, children, kids, players, just get them to play accurate. Then you start looking at which side, because it depends on, if I'm a defender, and again, we're trying to touch on everything you've asked, defenders shouldn't be marking from behind. Defenders should be marking from the side. Because the good sign of a defender is not how many tackles the defender makes, it's how many interceptions. That's the real key to being a good defender. It's not the tackles. If I'm having to continually to keep tackling as a defender, then maybe I'm not in the right position. But if I'm intercepting, so I play a lot of possession games where the team gets a point when they intercept the ball. I'm trying to encourage them to intercept the ball. So the defender doesn't stand behind. The defender will be on one side or the other, ready to step in front. Okay? So accuracy, timing of the pass. Sorry, accuracy, the weight of the pass. That's the speed of the pass. Am I playing it so my teammate can comfortably have the ball? And to me, the definition of a good pass means that my teammate can do anything with it. If I play a good pass, they can play one touch, they can control it, they can do whatever they want with the ball. So the weight of the pass is so important. The timing of the pass. If I'm not under pressure, then I don't have to play the ball. If I let the player come in too close, then there's a chance that they're going to pinch it. So I have to decide, when do I pass the ball? Okay? The timing of the pass. And you might want to give your defenders some sort of guidelines. Not for junior kids, because it's a bit sort of difficult, but certainly with senior players. What I've always told my senior players, and I laugh at the moment with defending in the Premier League and the Champions League, is appalling at the moment. I think it's appalling. Because we're all so fixated on playing out from the back that we're getting caught in possession. So I tell my defenders, do not let any attacker get within 3 or 4 yards. So I'll show them. If he's the closest defender, the attacker to me, if I'm a defender, if I've got the ball, I do not let him get any closer than that before I have to pass the ball. If I let him come in far too close, there's every chance he's going to pinch the ball. So I give my defenders, my senior defenders, I'm showing you now that distance, do not get caught. That if you allow players to get closer than that, you're going to get caught in possession. So I would far rather say, if there's nothing on, if you're looking around and there's nobody on, either go back to your goalkeeper or knock it forward. But don't try and play these silly passes where he's going to come and pinch it. Accuracy of the pass, the weight of the pass, the timing of the pass, and disguise. Disguise. If I'm all ready to play the ball like that, if he's a clever player, he knows where it's going to go. But if I'm doing that and then I just flick it off that way, bit of disguise. So, again, accuracy, weight of the pass, timing of the pass, and the disguise. We had the grid, so you play 3v1 with the bib, throw the bib down, continually keep on playing. Different conditions, it might be 2-touch, it might be all in. This is what I call working on the killer pass. So again, you work on whatever sort of area that you want to have. So they're trying to pass the ball backwards and forwards. They're trying to pass the ball backwards and forwards. And you might initially, they might have their own separate ball to start off with. So they're practicing passing, they're moving around, and they've still got to make a decision when to play the ball. So they've each got their own ball. Then you only have one ball, and it's a competition. Can I play a ball to my teammate? If I can't, can I play the ball square to then get played in? Can I play it one touch? Can I pretend to play disguise? And you play that I call that the killer pass. That's a great, and there's 12 players. And you could have another grid here, 12 players. It's not so good doing it with 2 in each grid, but I knew that I had not too many players. It's good to have maybe 3 because it makes it more realistic. And it could be the back 3 together, the midfield 3 together, strikers together. So you could put the players together who play together. And what you're working on is, from an attacking point of view, can you play forward passes? From a defending point of view, you're trying to squeeze these defenders tight so they can't play balls in. So you could have the same practice, but today, guys, we're going to work on the attacking principles. And then when we come back next week, I'm going to work on the defending principles, because that's how we need to play. We need to squeeze up to stop them playing through the middle, let them go wide. So the same practice, we can work with defenders and attackers.
Can I just add to that? Like one drill, I love that drill. Put a goal either side.
Absolutely.
If you get through,
Yep.
then the 3 turning out, 3v3.
Yep. You bring your goalkeepers in. So once they get through, they go for goal. You can also, as they start getting better, once the ball goes in there, another condition, one of these O's can actually go in there and make it a 3v1. So you can build it up to a realistic practice. So it can be just purely a technical practice, and then you can bring in more rules to make it more realistic. You can even then bring in a second player so it becomes a 3v2. And the player that's left in there has to do what they do in the game, try and block the passing lanes. They're moving to block the passing lanes.
When you do these drills, would you generally advance it to these points where there is a goal involved to make it more realistic, or are you happy just to...
The game of football has never changed since the first rules came about in 1863. And the game was always about scoring goals. If you don't have goal-scoring activities every single session, then you're not doing the game justice. Shooting is it's not about possession. We got so hung up for a decade on possession. We've got to keep the ball. No, you've got to score goals. You don't get points for keeping the ball, you get points. I love to have shooting, and if we can, we'll do some shooting practices. Shooting is what the game is all about. Goal scoring is what the game's about. But also, if you're doing shooting, you can also do defending, and you got to work on that as well. So it's critical to put in goals whenever you can. Absolutely.
So
yes.
Oh yeah.
No, great.
That's what I would do.
Great. Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
In all of those drills that you just did, you had a goalkeeper participate in it.
I'd like them to use their foot skills. Yep.
You wouldn't just have them all doing goalkeeper training.
No. We've got a lot of goalkeeper coaches, and they do a fantastic job. And one of the things, with Football Coaches of Australia, we had one of the greatest goalkeeper coaches in Melbourne in January, a guy called Eric Steele. Eric's worked with Man United, Man City, Aston Villa. He's worked with some of the global best goalkeepers in the world. Roy was here, so I got him to do a session. And he talked about getting goalkeepers involved in as much of the practices as possible. Yes, that they've got to go away and work on technique, but you need to get them involved in the actual team. You need to get them. Good for foot skills, but again, we were hung up on possession, playing out from the back, goalkeepers having good foot skills. I prefer my goalkeepers to make saves. My goalkeeper will help my team win games by making saves. It is about the foot skills, but I would rather have my goalkeeper make 10 saves a season than playing out from the back. But they've got to do both now. So yes, got to do foot skills. Yes, get them involved in those sorts of practices. but put them in the game situation. Any other questions about what we've just done? Because I need to move on. Okay. Anything that we haven't shown yet that you might want to see? Yeah. Sorry?
For scanning and turning the best rules.
Just continually just keep on talking to them. A few years ago, Brian Kidd, who was Manchester United, the legend, coach of Man City, Brian again was in Melbourne, and I got him to do a coach education workshop. And he told a great story, because he used to, even though he coached a lot at Manchester City, he played at Man United, but he also coached the youth at Man United. And he tells a great story about Paul Scholes. Paul Scholes, as a 14-year-old, was a real pathetic creature, because he had a sickness, he had a real lack of strength, he really struggled, but they knew that he had so much potential that they really worked hard on keeping him in the program, and obviously he became probably one of the world's greatest midfield players. But one of his problems, Brian said, was scanning. So what they came up with was a buzzword which was so simple: windscreen wipers. So whenever Paul Scholes played, he'd be like that. He'd be just playing, watching the ball. And all they'd do from the sideline was shout out, windscreen wipers. And just got him to do that. He became probably one of the world's best midfield players, scanning. And there's one video, great. Man United's got to throw in on this side, all right? And you can see Scholesy's running towards him, but he's doing this. He's doing this. He's running towards him. And as the guy threw him the ball, Scholesy just volleyed it to the other side of the pitch, straight to Gary Neville. It was incredible. Technically brilliant, but as he's running, he's scanning and looking. Ball got thrown, volley. A blind volley right across the... Fantastic. So you might want to use those sort of buzzwords. Scanning, though, just keep on telling kids. And what I'll show you something on that as well. Anything else?
Sorry if it's not in the right context.
Yep.
You've got young kids around 11, 12, and they're being manned up, and the ball's not near them at that point in time. Do you tell these kids who are being manned up, being defended, to keep moving around away from your player so that when the ball does come to you, or I know you've got positions in soccer and stuff like that, but do you tell them to keep moving?
Yes. The game's all about... I've got a grandson, he's 6 years old. He wants to play soccer. And I laugh at him because I say to him, "You can't play soccer." And he's like, look at me, he says, "Why, Pop?" I said, you just don't run. He just likes to stand still. So you can't play soccer unless you're going to run. The game is about running. The game is about movement.
So, because I know they're getting the hang of defending and attacking at about 11 to 12, that's how I can see it. And they get frustrated because they are being defended now, like they're being manned up as such, sorry, wrong, if it's women or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
But do they sort of stay within the pocket and just keep moving around?
All right, I'm going to change it. I'm going to show you something to work on attackers and defenders, control attackers and defenders. I'm going to change it just for that question, and I'll show you about scanning as well, because they're both linked together. All right, let's go. All right, guys, let's go.